Do you have trouble understanding women? Maybe you're a terrible cook, or maybe you just want to learn something about science.
You will fail calculus without knowing this. These three derivative rules.
If so, I'm sorry to break it to you, you're out of luck, because we're in a terrible era of AI education slop, and it might even be the end of education as we know it.
Stop exaggerating.
Maybe that's a little bit too dramatic.
Typical.
In today's video, I want to talk about the unfortunate rise of AI education slop, and if we're really even learning anything, I hope you enjoy the video.
I'm curious how a modern solar panel works so well with
work or how things are made. Why is that so interesting and fun, like a method of like learning things? I hope it's real information, otherwise I'm learning, because I totally believe all of it. I feel like
As you guys know, I'm an ethical hater, so even though I don't like AI music, I have to be honest, these AI jingles, these soundtracks kind of get stuck in my head. It's something about education set to a nice melody that just gets me stuck in a loop or something. We'll talk about that later, but first I want to talk about how I started getting this AI education slop on my feed. It started around a year ago when I was looking into recipes because I wanted to make something for my friend for her birthday. As I was swiping through my feed one after another, I would get these delicious looking recipes on how to bake a donut or a cake. As I started working out, it got even worse, and I started getting these recipes for delicious protein brownies that promised me that they taste exactly like the original non-fitness version. And let me tell you, people say that AI lies a lot. That's one of the biggest lies that is ever told. It tastes disgusting.
You lying.
Have you ever fell onto the ground and you get like random particles of dust in your mouth? That's exactly what the protein brownies taste like. Disgusting. Please, if you are on your fitness journey, do not use ChatGPT to plan out your meals or to plan out your workouts, because a lot of the time, also, a side note, it's going to be off on the calories. It's going to be off on the nutritional value. You're not going to have an accurate representation of what you're eating, and it's going to set you back. And you're going to be thinking you're doing something wrong when you didn't do anything wrong. It's the app. But that's what makes AI tricky, right? On the surface, it looks like it's telling you amazing information or accurate information about your nutrients, your calories, everything that you need to make a plan. And on the surface, it looks easy to make. But anybody who knows how to cook, and anybody will tell you, and you can even look on Reddit, people talk about this all the time, it turns out horrible. As somebody who personally knows how to cook, I can tell you a lot of these recipes won't even work, and they kind of taste horrible. I know a lot of people won't take my word for it, so I'll just play a video of somebody actually testing out the recipes.
For to come up with a completely original mac and cheese recipe that's worthy of earning a Michelin star. When I generated this recipe, ChatGPT came up with the brilliant idea of adding caramelized onions, which we're going to layer into this mac and cheese later on. This twist honestly takes this dish way over the top.
Onions!
I want you to think French onion soup meets mac and cheese.
Those two together are a bad combination.
It's able to refer to thousands of recipes in order to get things right. As for the crispy topping, it generated a combination between panko, parmesan, smoked paprika, and olive oil. Assemble this almost like a lasagna. I'll start off with the bechamel cheese sauce at the bottom, followed by some slightly undercooked pasta and then our onion jam, repeating and then topping off with our crispy coating at the end. Into a 375-degree oven for 25 minutes, and that is going to make one of the most delicious mac and cheese you'll...
It looks horrible, right? It looks kind of disgusting. But the reason I wanted to start here is because I think it encapsulates a lot of the problems I have with AI. And you might think using cooking or recipe making or baking as an example is funny, it's not education, but it is. We just, as a society, devalue the skill. Baking is food science, it's chemistry. It's easily messed up a whole recipe if you don't follow it to the exact portions. Some recipes, some other recipes are easier to follow. If you don't have somebody who knows what they're doing or somebody who knows their way around the kitchen, your recipe can turn out horrible. And secondly, it leads you to a false expectation because you think you're following this amazing cookbook, you're following this amazing recipe, you think at the end you're going to turn out with this amazing photo that they use, but it just turns out that it was AI nonsense. But you don't know that because you've never cooked before, you never baked before, you don't know how the food is supposed to look. And that's the same across education. You don't know what you don't know. You need an expert there to tell you, hey, that's not actually how that works. That won't work that way. And lastly, it's getting really hard for creators to get their recipes to people, and it's harder for people to find real recipes themselves. Pinterest has been flooded with fake AI recipes, so real creators can't even be seen. And in all honesty, somebody could make a good recipe with AI. That's totally possible. But even then, the problem still remains because that good AI recipe that was crafted by somebody who knows what they're doing will still get flooded out by the hundreds of terrible AI recipes that will be put onto the internet. You can't compete.
Recipe blogger. I run a recipe website and I have done it for over a decade, meaning I develop, photograph, and post recipes on the internet that hopefully people find, love, and enjoy feeding their families with. I know hundreds of other women like myself who do the same thing. It is our income. We have built careers out of this. We feed our families, we pay our mortgage with it. So it was wonderful. It's been wonderful for a long time. But a couple of years ago, AI entered the picture. So they're flooding the internet, Facebook, Pinterest with all of these AI recipes that have never been tested by a human being. So meanwhile, the real people who are creating recipes and testing them, and they're actually good recipes, ours aren't getting shown to anybody. Head over to Pinterest and you start scrolling, and once you realize it, you'll see that probably 80 to 90% of your feed is all AI generated recipes. Once again, those of us that create real recipes, our stuff isn't getting shown to anyone because the algorithm thinks that people like the AI. Then you, as the consumer, you see the beautiful picture, you think the recipe sounds good, and you make it, and it's
In a moment of transparency, I didn't really think it was going to get that dystopian or dark. So let's lighten the mood a little bit and let's move to the next topic, which everybody loves. Cats.
How to understand your girlfriend.
Say she fine. Kitty not fine. Kitty wants you to ask again.
I think there was even a duck or a dove. I'm not sure.
How to understand your girlfriend.
Just teaching you random facts about life. These videos are pretty simple. They start with a cat, an animal. Dolphins explain, seals explain economics, or cats explain why your boyfriend's mad at you or why your girlfriend's mad at you. And they're lighthearted, they're funny, and everybody seems like a good time in the comments. The reason I wanted to cover this because I don't like to do one-sided videos. I do truly believe that AI can help people learn. I talked about this a little bit in my AI influencer video about how different messengers can help people learn about different things. But it is factually true that some people need a different messenger or need a different method of communication to learn something. I'm not talking about visual learner or hands-on learning. I'm talking about person or a framework for them to learn something. How people learn philosophy, different anime characters debating each other. And people were learning philosophy because they were watching Itachi debate Naruto, for example. It's just factually true that that person who watched that video wouldn't have watched a 3-hour documentary or video essay on topics of linguistic probability of quantum mechanics. I don't even know what that means. I'm just throwing words together. Buzzword. But it's
Pseudo-intellectual poser.
just true. People learn different ways. So if listening to Brian Griffin explain the concepts of networking to you helps you study for a test, I can't say that that is a bad thing. I think it's unethical because of the environment damage and you're stealing that person's voice to create something. But I can't say that it does not work. It does. You do learn something from it. It's just factually true that you do. I don't think society will end if people are learning that the reason your girlfriend is mad at you is that you like some other woman's Instagram reel and she saw it pop up on her feed on Instagram.
She say, do what you want. That not permission. That test. You better not do what you...
You know, if you need a cat AI video to tell you that, that's perfectly fine to me. I don't think society will end. One of the biggest videos on TikTok right now explains complex topics in like a musical note, and she like sings along, and I'll play a snippet for you.
I'm curious how Apple packs a battery, speaker, Bluetooth chip, antenna, and multiple microphones.
She admits that it's AI. I don't think she says it directly on the channel, but she commented on somebody's video. She's like, yeah, it's AI, and nobody has fact-checked any of my videos yet, and nobody has said that they're wrong. I dare you to try to fact-check me. So she's open to being fact-checked. Besides the ethical implications of the environment, or if that's really her own voice, or if it's totally synthetic, I don't know, because you can make your AI voice do a melody with AI, so I don't even know if it's her real voice, but assuming that it is it wrong that millions of people are learning about engineering topics through the power of song and dance? I don't think that it is. Maybe that's a horrible take, I don't know, but feel free to disagree with me in the comments. That's what makes you a human and not an AI, that you can actually are allowed to disagree with me. Let me know. It's perfectly fine, but that's my opinion on it, at least. But even these videos that I think good uses of AI for education, they still run into the same problem that the recipe videos do, or recipe creators do. Once you come up with a good idea, people are just going to steal it and then put it through AI, and then you're going to compete against yourself, basically. I don't know who came up with the original idea of animals explaining things for a topic, but whoever did the cat version or the dove version, people basically stole his idea and then remade it like 400 different times, and now he's competing against all these people who are just putting his original idea, his original editing style into AI, then forcing it out, and now he is competing. He's being forced to compete against people who don't do any of the work that he did, right? Which leads me to the perfect segue, the fake video essay dilemma. In this part of the video, I'm not going to say my personal experiences till the end so people don't think I'm biased. I'm just going to lay out the facts of what's said in this article so people can make up their own mind. In this 404 article, 404 for those who don't know, 404 Media is a tech journalism. They talk about how technology influences culture. They interviewed some YouTubers, some historian YouTubers, about how AI channels are affecting them or affecting their profits. Almost everybody in the article that they talked to had had a universal bad experience. I don't know 100% certainty if some of these channels are AI or not, so I'm not going to put any names out there because I don't want to be toxic and get somebody wrong by accident. But if you go around, there are plenty of channels on YouTube that are suspiciously kind of AI, science channels, history channels, etc. And they offer this promise of education, of learning something. They upload 1 to 3 hour videos every single day or every single week, and they get sometimes millions of views, sometimes 1,000 views. Now you're probably thinking it's just history YouTube channel. It's not that big of a deal. Let people watch what they want to watch. And I 100% agree with you. I hate when people try to control what other people do too. That's not my point. My point is when people talk about AI slop or AI education, they talk about it from a viewer's point of view or a consumer's point of view. Nobody really talks about it from a creator's point of view. And I think people should, because it's kind of leading to the end of creativity. They interviewed YouTube historians, people who spend months of their lives researching, getting primary sources, going to the places that this history happened to make educational, informative, accurate, not 100% accurate, but accurate videos. They think that the AI education videos are competing with them for viewers, and that just makes sense. There's a limited amount of people on the platform. If I choose to watch an anime montage of Goku and Vegeta, my attention is going to that video, and it's not going to a Nicole Raffi video or a Chad video. I'm just saying that because I watched those too, and that's like actual real choices. As a viewer, you're always making a choice, and your time is always limited, so you have to choose what you want to watch that day, and that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. We all should have that choice. But the problem is that as a creator, and especially in their case, they're competing with the AI slop channels, and there's no way you can compete as a human, right? And the reason that is because, and a lot of people don't know this, a lot of people's videos, especially in the educational genre, are being stolen. And this is where it comes into my own personal bias, so you can excuse it, but these creators in the YouTube video said the same thing, where their revenue has gone down, their new viewers have gone down, and they're struggling to gain new viewers on the platform. And you could say that's because they're bad at their job. They need to get better at their job, okay? That's perfectly fair. That's a perfectly fair argument. But the problem is that the way that educational content used to work on YouTube, or used to work in general, is that you made the piece of content, you spent 1 to 3 months of your life on this educational, well-sourced, well-accurate information, and that video would make you a lot of money over the years, right? We're talking about 4 to 5 years. It was evergreen. It was going to get you thousands of dollars a year. And so it was worth it to spend 3 months of your life on that video. But that doesn't really happen anymore. And the reason that doesn't happen is because AI creators are stealing people's scripts. They're just putting them into ChatGPT or whatever.
We found a new AI tactic being used on TikTok. It appears AI is being deployed to make avatars that resemble real-life creators. But here's the twist. The fake creators are repeating word for word what real-life creators have posted, verbatim ripoffs. They could get millions of views.
Gen Z, that the stare we're talking about is not the one that...
And they're rewriting them entirely. And so that means the educational genre is fundamentally not worth it anymore to a lot of new people. And I think, there's going to be some pushback upon that, but it takes a long time to research something. For me, when I was doing video essays, and why I went away from the genre is because it would take me a month to 2 months, and I was doing animations for my videos. It would take me a month to 2 months to make them. And for me, and I got in, I was the last chapter out, bro. I got in when it was good. It's my personal bias, but these creators said the same thing. Their new viewership is down, and you can't really say it's just a quality thing. Because if you look at some of these channels, and this is another thing that people don't know, is that, you can well edit your videos, you can do all these things to your videos, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's a lot of your topic and thumbnail. That's like 90%. So the more that you put out as a creator, the more you're likely to get better views, simply because you're better to pick a topic at the right point in time where the video is going to do well. Unless you already have a brand, right? So I use this example for a lot. I did a video about trad wives. It sat for like 2 weeks. Didn't do anything, but then the trad wife topic picked up, I think, because Funky Frogbait did a video on it or something, and then that pushed the attention to that topic, and then my video got picked up in that, and then I got like 300,000 views or something because that became a hot topic at that point in time. I just got lucky that my video essay did that. All of my other video essays have been the same way. It's been, have I gotten lucky to catch the topic at the right time, or did I plan it good enough to catch the topic at the right time? So the reason I went through that is because AI has the ability to mass produce, which means that they could be really bad at their job of hitting the topic at the right moment of time, but it doesn't matter because they're already putting out so much that they're bound to hit it eventually. And you can look at these channels. Some videos have 1 million views, some have 1,000. It doesn't matter because they're stealing where they're getting it from and they're just rewriting the script. And so it's forced, back to the article, it's forced some of these people to look outside of YouTube, to different avenues to get paid for their work. Because the truth is, just to bring it back to myself, I'm not spending 3 months of my life working on a video for my video to get like 5,000 views. Somebody like sees it, they're like, "Ooh, this is a good topic," puts it through ChatGPT, rewrites the whole entire script, and then they get 1 million. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's crazy. So, and I'm so lucky and blessed that I have an audience that will watch different topics. So I do more topical stuff because my audience is so awesome. I could do a video about Tana and the Cancel podcast, and that could do 100,000 views if I did it at the moment it was trending. And then I could go right back to like a highly in-depth video essay with facts and sources. So I can switch between them because my audience is just that amazing. But a lot of people who do educational content, they did it for so long, they only did that one thing that their audience expects them only to do educational content. Dude, I'm not big into history. I really can't even think of an example. Something like back in the prehistoric times or whatever, your audience or your job description, you don't really have the flexibility to one day talk about prehistoric times and then go on to some like drama, because there's not really drama. Like, unless, I guess you could do the caveman trend, like that's happening on TikTok right now, and be like, actually, cavemen didn't talk like that. But I guess that's a thing you could do. But you don't have that versatility, and there's nothing wrong, I guess, with that inherently. But that means that where's the money going to come from? The model on YouTube works, really it does, but it only works if the majority of content is original. And if AI keeps producing slop, well, then how do you compete with that? And they're making the video and they're getting 1 million views and you're only getting 20,000. Well, then how do you compete with that? Right? You don't. People will just stop creating educational content. They'll just go get a job in academia somewhere. Academia will become more and more locked off to the general public. There's another people, I can't say their name, Kurskergat, I think. I don't know. They did another video about this, about how like AI will repeat the same lies over and over again. That's what will happen. People who actually study this stuff, researchers, educators, they'll just move out, they'll go to academia, and then we'll slowly, the misinformation cycle will continue, repeat, and that's all we'll have, right? That's one possibility. I don't know, I'm not making a prediction, but I can't see anything other around it, because most people are not going to stay and make videos when people are stealing their work. It's one thing to fail because you're just not good at your job, right? But there's one thing that you fail and then you like take personal accountability, and then you see what's basically your entire script and just stock images on the screen, and it's 3 hours and they get $30,000 while you're struggling to pay your rent. People are just not going to do that. And I think that's how education can end because of AI slop. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Click here for the next one. Have a great day. Peace.